So El Siboney will be the first place we eat. Before we get started, I'd like to give you guys a little bit of background information about it. Um, Cubans have been part of Key West for centuries now, and this building in particular has been here for about 50 years. As you can tell, there's been a neighborhood built around it, so it's kind of been here a long time, kind of grandfathered in. Um, this place actually had a name before. It was called the Piggery before, and now it's called El Siboney, which is after a native tribe here in Cuba. If you notice on the table here, there's some hot sauces. These hot sauces are house-made in the back. The Cuban food isn't really typically spicy, but before the Spanish colonized it, they did have a local habanero plant that was used quite often. I will say, if you want to try the food with the hot sauce, I would try it without it first, just to get the traditional taste before you add the spices. Our main course today will be the pirica asada, which is shredded pork. It's the most classic dish here. It's served with white rice, black beans, plantains, and a little bit of bread on the side. The pork is marinated in a mojo and braised onions. If you notice, the rice is white instead of yellow. During the time, they both ate white and yellow rice in Cuba. Some of the lower income people ate white rice versus the yellow. The yellow rice is mixed with saffron, and it gave like a nutritional value as long as color. The Spanish brought that over whenever they colonized it. It wasn't until 1901 that Cuba declared independence from the Spanish, and they basically could no longer afford the saffron to turn their rice yellow, so they just had white rice basically. Another thing that's going to be on the plate is plantains. They are part of the banana family. They also look like a banana. There's two different stages of maturity, and there's the first stage is the immature stage. It's a more greenish color. It's kind of really starchy, so they only make a few things with this, like plantain chips and stuff like that. Today we'll be having the mondros, which is the mature style of it. It's basically in all the dishes served here. It's very common. Most people think of it as a dessert, but it's really not. If you give me a second, I will point out the mojo marinade that it's in. The mojo is and sour orange mixture with salt and pepper, garlic, oregano, and some onions. This is not only just used for pork, it can be used with beef, and even some locals inject their Thanksgiving turkey with it, which is kind of interesting. The dish itself is not very hard to cook. You basically marinate the meat overnight in the mojo, then you braise the meat, and you cook it in the oven on a low temperature in the marinade. Another thing that's cool or unique about Cuba is they're very known for their coffee. Now, the coffee is a little bit different from America's. It's kind of spiked up a little bit. It's 1/5 espresso and half sugar, which is kind of the equivalent of a normal coffee cup in America today. Most people drink their coffee in the mornings, but Cuban coffee you can drink it in the afternoons as well. A lot of people dip bread into it. It's a very tasty snack in the afternoons. You can have it in many different ways and styles. My favorite is the cortadito. It's kind of like an espresso shot, kind of. It's like basically all Cuban coffee and a little bit of cream in it, and it's like a 5-hour energy. It puts a lightning bolt in you and wakes you up. I hope you guys all enjoyed El Siboney. If you guys are ready to move on to the next spot, we can go ahead and do that. Yeah.